What's up everyone, and welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome today, and as usual, we're getting right into today's Reddit posts. Neighbor makes my medical emergency all about herself. I'm still completely flabbergasted that this even happened. Here's a little backstory. I have lived on this rental property for about 2.5 years at this point. When my son and I first moved in, the neighbors were nice and welcoming. It's an older neighborhood, and a lot of people have been here for a long time. My neighbors next to me have a weird house, and from the outside, kind of a weird situation. There are 2 elderly men, a middle-aged man, and a petite lady that lives there. The house looks like a labyrinth on the outside, like they just kept adding cinder block sections to it, and now it's this sprawling mess on their property. Anyway, the lady, I don't know her name after all this time, so we will call her Kate, spends every day when the weather is good outside sweeping her yard. Yes, I said sweeping, because that's what she does. She picks a patch of grass and dirt and just sweeps it for literally hours. For the first 2 years I was here, every time I walked out my front door, she would shout hi at me even if she had already seen me that day. I was cordial at first, but then it started getting super annoying, and I would just wave or ignore her because she would shout hi at me even if I was visibly on the phone or trying to talk to someone here. Fast forward to about 6 months ago. My boyfriend moved in and my son moved out. My boyfriend is deaf, so as many times as she shouted hi at him, he couldn't hear her. She calmed down on the shouting after a while and mostly kept to herself. Okay, so now to the recent happenings. We had a big medical emergency here with my boyfriend, and his dad called an ambulance for him. When they arrived, I had just gotten home from work, wasn't aware of the full extent of the emergency, and was just trying to talk to the paramedics as they were getting out of the truck. Enter Kate. As I'm trying to ask questions, she begins shouting from the fence nonsensical sentences that basically boiled down to, and I quote, "My heart is beating so hard. I'm so scared. What is happening?" All of this while I am trying to even figure out what the hell is going on. I paused my conversation with the paramedics and politely asked her to mind her own business. I mean, we aren't even friends. We just live next door to each other. I don't even know her real name. She responds with shouting all of those things louder, and her volume gets to the point to where I can't even hear anything the paramedics are saying. I'm anxious and scared about what is happening, and I'm just trying to get a grip on the current situation. Maybe I'm in the wrong for this, but she was in an absolute tizzy at this point. I stepped through the paramedics and towards the fence and blew up. "Shut the f*** up and mind your own goddamn business." Well, of course, that really set her off. She started screaming nonsensical sentences like she was a rabid animal and going to come through the fence and attack all of us. The paramedics suggested we go inside at that point because we couldn't hear each other anymore over her screeching. They ended up having to take my boyfriend to the hospital. The whole ordeal took about 20 minutes from them coming inside, getting him on the gurney and into the ambulance. They then sat in the driveway for another 10 or 15 minutes before driving off. The entire time the paramedics were on my property, Kate stood in her backyard and on her back porch screaming and cursing at me and my boyfriend. I had 2 brief phone calls before the ambulance drove off, and both people on the other end of the phone could hear Kate screeching from her backyard. Absolutely mind-blowing. Like, how are you going to see someone having a clear emergency and try to make it all about yourself? Since then, I have witnessed her get into screaming matches with the neighbors across the street from us, and the neighbors on the other side of her house. She will stand outside and scream at them from in front of her mailbox or through the fence. I have to live here for another year. I just hope she can mind her own business until I can move. Getting my sister arrested after she destroyed my clothes. So I, 24 female, live with my younger sister, 21, while we both save up for our own places. It's been mostly fine, but lately, she's been acting super jealous and petty over the dumbest stuff, especially my clothes. I work a decent job and I like fashion. I save up and occasionally treat myself to nice things. Think Zara, Abercrombie, nothing outrageous, but definitely stuff she doesn't buy herself. She constantly borrows my clothes without asking. I've asked her to stop multiple times, even put a lock on my closet door, which she broke. Last week was the final straw. I came home from work and found a pile of my clothes, my favorite leather jacket, some designer jeans, a silk dress I wore once, all shredded and slashed up on the floor, like someone went full slasher movie on them. My heart dropped. I asked her what happened and she just smirked and said, "Maybe now you'll stop acting like you're better than everyone else." I completely lost it. I called the police and filed a report. She thought I was bluffing until the cops actually showed up. I showed them the damage, the receipts for the clothes. I keep most of them for returns or resale, and the broken closet lock. She was arrested for property damage. Now my parents are freaking out, saying I took it too far, and that she's just a kid, and family shouldn't call the cops on each other. But I've had enough. This wasn't an accident or a dumb prank. This was straight up malicious. Okay, Dan, you want to give my number out to strangers? I have a really memorable phone number, like 1234567 level distinct, so people often think I'm making it up when I give it out. For years now, some businessman named Dan, I'll leave out his last name, has been giving out my phone number to clients or people he doesn't want to deal with, just to brush them off. I've usually been polite when these people call, just letting them know they have the wrong number. Over time, I've picked up a surprising amount of info about Dan just by talking to the caller, like his full name, job title, the company he works for. He's very real. I never wanted to get involved or reach out to him directly. But after years of this nonsense, I've had enough. Lately, when someone calls asking for Dan, I tell them he moved to Arizona because of, quote, some legal issues and embezzlement. And if they ask if there's a new contact at the company, I say the whole operation is under investigation. I really hope this rumor makes its way back to him because, Dan, stop giving out my number. Seriously. Locking the door to my home so my husband's friend couldn't come in. My husband's friend has been living with us for about 6 months now. When my husband presented the idea to me about him moving in, I was hesitant, but he was determined to get him out of the streets. Fast forward to present day, his friend got a part-time job at FedEx and quit a couple of weeks ago because he didn't like how his supervisor was talking to him. He does not contribute anything to our home, doesn't help cook, clean, or watch our children. Our oldest girl keeps an eye out on our toddler more than he does. He'll go in our office and spark up some weed, no matter how many times I tell him and my husband that he needs to do that outdoors. Yesterday I hit my breaking point. I wasn't feeling well as I had a migraine. 3 of our kids had dentist appointments. I don't know about you guys, but getting kids out the door can be challenging regardless, let alone when you're feeling sick from your head pounding nonstop. I go outside with our kids to see that my car was gone. He took my car to go smoke with his coworker. My husband was at work. Furious wasn't the word to describe it. I immediately went back inside and tried to call him. No answer. I then called my husband where he sighed like he was so annoyed with me and said he would call him. I tried explaining to my husband that I'm at my wit's end. We have 6 kids and I get no help from him or his friend. He sleeps on our couch and doesn't even fold his blanket up in the morning. My husband proceeds to tell me that I'm overreacting and that I need to calm down. I ended up locking my front door and refused to open it until my husband got home. However, when he got home, he didn't try to come inside. He took a picture of our door, went on Instagram and told the world, "Have you ever been locked out of your own home?" I lost it. I feel like I've been more than patient and I can't do it anymore. I don't get help or basic respect in my own home and I'm constantly gaslit. My husband has a history of getting extremely angry and scary, so I told him he needed to wait until our children were asleep in bed before coming in, as I was afraid he'd come in irate, lashing out in front of them like before. Update. So I contacted the base nearest me and was granted an MPO, Military Protection Order for those who aren't familiar. It took a couple of tries to get a hold of someone, but when I did, I sobbed while trying to summarize everything that's been happening to me. She said he will not be allowed to come home or contact me until the investigation is complete. She was extremely nice and sympathetic with my situation, so that gives me slight hope. This is the second step I've ever taken in regards to getting my kids out of here and ending my marriage. The first was locking the door yesterday. I don't know where his friend is, but I put his crap out of my house late last night and told him to come get it. It was gone when I woke up this morning. I can't describe how terrified I am at the unknown. I am going to change the locks to the doors within the next 24 hours. I'm also going to sit my kids down tonight and explain why I did what I did. And because some of the sentences in this post aren't really clear whether she's talking about her husband or her husband's friend, she does clarify a bit here after someone asked about it. She said I locked the door on his friend. The door stayed locked the rest of the day. My husband does not have a key. Had he knocked or called and told me to open it for him, I would have, for him. But I told him I was done with his friend and he needed to leave. Him taking my car for hours without telling me was insane. But my husband went and posted a picture on Instagram about being locked out. I called him to say what the hell is that about, and the argument went up in flames from there. How did blocking that hydrant work out for you? My house backs up on a public park with sports fields and is 4 houses from the park entrance. The entrance to the park is a sidewalk that cuts between 2 houses, and there is no parking lot, so street parking only. There is a fire hydrant in front of my house. It is clearly marked, bright yellow, curb painted, and an orange flag sticking out of the top. Despite this, people visiting the park for various sports ball activities routinely miss it and park in front of it. 3 weeks ago, club baseball started. For whatever reason, baseball parents tend to be more observant than other sports ball parents and generally leave a decent gap. Week 1, I was heading out with the dog when I noticed a distinctive electric truck attempting to wedge into the gap. Doggo and I waited for him to finish, and I told him about the hydrant. He told us to f*** off. Week 2, we're coming back from our walk and notice that not only is he blocking the hydrant again, but he has a ticket. Later, my husband sees him tear the ticket up and throw it on the ground. He then flipped our house off before he drove away. Week 3, I once again watch him attempting to park in his special spot, roll my eyes and think some uncharitable thoughts. A few hours later, there's screaming from the front yard. The city booted the vehicle in front of the hydrant and gave him another ticket for parking in front of the hydrant. I wonder what week 4 will bring. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.